I'm Grylls, and I want to show you something amazing that is happening to millions of young people all around the world. It's a movement that is changing and inspiring and bettering lives in almost every country on the planet. And it was born right here in the UK. Let me introduce you to the modern world of scouting. I've had the pleasure of meeting scouts all over the world. And in this programme, I want you to meet a few who embody the scouting values and who are an inspiration to those around them.
You know, what I try to teach my daughters is be useful and be kind.
We've really reached a tipping point with the scouting movement where more people are talking about it in a positive way than ever before.
We saved our grandma's life.
Hero, legend.
My condition is cerebral palsy. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you will always be right.
Values such as integrity, respect, cooperation, care and helping each other out are already instilled in the Muslim children.
The adventure, you do things that you wouldn't otherwise get the chance to do with people who you might not otherwise get the chance to mix with.
We were thrown to the floor and my wife and I were injured as well, and we made it through the exit of the foyer onto the bridge which goes over the railway.
Mentally it was quite tough at times, like hearing some stories of these people, the way they've even got to Greece. It's not the final destination, it's partway through their journey of just trying to make a better life for themselves.
If my kids were not doing scouting, I could guarantee that they would be on their iPads, iPhones, or watching TV.
We're part of something so special. You see the pride and the confidence and the adventure that surrounds these young people. It really is a shining light for not only the UK but for scouts all over the world. One of the great honours in my life is to be the UK's Chief Scout. We're part of a family now of over 50 million scouts. And the more I see, the more it blows my mind. Scouts are involved in some of the most incredible endeavours. They've stood on the moon, climbed Everest, crossed deserts, oceans and jungles, and helped save lives in almost every disaster zone of the last century. Thriving in over 200 countries around the world, Scouts are shining lights in their community, committed to their Scout promise to be kind and to help people. So Dara was one of the heroes who helped after the Manchester Arena bombing, went back in to help many people. An incredible man, proud to have you as part of Scouting. One of the most unique days in the whole Scouting calendar takes place right here at Windsor Castle. And the Queen hosts us and allows Queen Scouts to parade every year on St George's Day. And there they receive their Queen Scout Awards. This is a pinnacle of Scouting, and for these young people, the pride on their faces and their families' faces for all they have achieved is amazing to behold. And that's where I'm going right now. Necker on, follow me. Just never give up.
Thank you.
Never give up. For me, I love days like this. It reminds me of everything I love about Scouting. You know, you look at this and you've got parents and grandparents and, you know, friends and relations who are here to support their sons or daughters here getting their Queen Scout Award. And it says that you're made of something, you've got character, you've stuck with it, you've persevered, you've learned some cool life skills, some cool adventure skills, but above all, you never give up. And once you become a Queen Scout, that stays with you for the rest of your life. You know, when I travel around the world, I meet amazing people, from top Hollywood actors to, you know, politicians, whoever it is, who often quietly say to me, do you know what? I was an Eagle Scout, or I was a Queen Scout, you know, the pinnacle of Scouting. And what it tells me is, wow, you're made of something solid and respect. Congratulations, well done. Queen Scout, great achievement.
Yeah,
Should be really proud of yourself, well done. As the age-old Scout values say, a Scout is friendly and considerate. And that means always thinking how our actions affect others. But some Scouts have demonstrated incredible selflessness in the face of overwhelming adversity.
Oh my God.
Scout leader Dr. Dara Burke had to react when he found himself in the worst possible scenario.
My wife and myself took my daughter to the Ariana Grande concert at Manchester Arena. Unfortunately, as we were walking out through the foyer of the arena, we were involved in the explosion that happened. Catherine was thrown to the floor, and my wife and I were injured as well in our legs, but we could manage to hobble out with Catherine and take her out. And we made it through the exit of the foyer onto the bridge which goes over the railway into Victoria Station, and that's where we realised we couldn't really get any further because we couldn't carry Catherine and walk at the same time. I acted almost automatically, so I knew that I needed to go and check and see what was happening with other people, because I knew that Catherine and Anne were in a stable condition and they could wait for help to arrive. So I decided to make my way back to the foyer to see what the situation was and see if I could do anything to help there. In Scouts, I'm usually picked to do the first aid training to a lot of the groups, to the Scouts and other groups, not just my group. That almost certainly kicked in. I was honoured by the Scouts Association to receive the Bronze Award for Gallantry, which is this medal, and I got to go to Windsor, which is a day of celebration around St George's Day, and it was incredible to meet so many people who were also receiving these awards.
So these guys are lifesavers, and Daniel saved his grandmother's life, hero, legend, and Emily saved one of her friends at school when she collapsed. And that's what Scouts do. We make a promise to be kind, to be helpful, and when called upon, to save people's lives.
We were awarded a Scout Gallantry Award because we saved our grandma's life.
Because the paramedics said if you haven't done what you did, she would have died 10-15 seconds later.
First thing I did when I saw my grandmother, I put in the recovery position. It's a position that you do if they're not breathing, just to make them a bit more comfortable. Because if they're not breathing, they could have something wrong with their windpipe, which was a problem with my grandmother. She had her head like that and she couldn't breathe. I knew what to do, so I was half scared and half brave. Because I knew what to do.
She said afterwards, she said, oh, those two young people that I met who saved their grannies, that was amazing. Keep inspiring everybody. Keep trying. As we know, a Scout shows courage in times of difficulty. It's easy to be brave when all around you is going swimmingly, but we define ourselves when life throws us a curveball, when life gets really hard. Most people tend to give up when the storms of life hit us, but not Scouts, and certainly not Harry.
So my condition is cerebral palsy, which is actually a neurological condition. It's about difficulty of the signals from my brain getting to certain places. Mostly for me, it's muscle tension in my legs, which makes my day-to-day mobility, things like running, that little bit more difficult. Affects other things like fine motor skills, tying knots in Scouts. My Explorer leader has had hours of patience.
I did that. I did it. She did that. And we broke it. One day it will be.
For me, going into Scouts, because it's very physical, the activities are supposed to be adventurous, kind of high energy. I think most people would expect that to be an issue for someone like me, but because of the way Scouts is structured and the ethos it builds, I think it's actually the place that's given me the most confidence. In school, if I was to do, say, PE or whatever, the teachers would always have that concern because it's that bit more structured. Whereas in Scouts, they had much more respect for me knowing my own limitations. Later in school, I took PE GCSE, and I'm on the university whitewater kayaking team now. I kayaked as a cub for the first time. I struggled with it immensely, but the leaders encouraged me to continue with it. The only barrier to being a scout for someone with a disability is their own mindset. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you will always be right.
Yeah, I did a granny knot.
And this is what young people learn. Determination. This dogged, bloody-minded tenacity to bravely keep going when life gets tough. It's called persistence, to never give up, and it is the key to everything. As the Scouting founder Lord Baden-Powell once said, never say die until you're dead. One of the things I love most about Scouting is that it unites people. Those Scouting values of inclusivity and always helping others, especially those that society overlooks. Lewis is someone who truly embodies these values.
So I was volunteering at the International Scout Camp in Switzerland, and I met a lady from an organisation called Foodkind who was trying to teach people a little bit about the refugee crisis going on down in Greece. A team of scouts which had pretty much come from this centre where there was a huge number of volunteers from all over the world working together on this camp. So we realised there was a need in the homeless sector of refugees coming over. So a lot of people are put into camps and they have food provided, often not clothing and that sort of thing, but there was a huge section of people which were living on the streets. So we'd set up the breakfast rounds and we were sort of providing food every day. We're working closely with another organisation who are doing big clothes distributions to camps around the place, and we sort of took out what we needed before it went to these camps and provided the people on the streets with the clothes that they needed, sleeping equipment, tents, just to keep them out of the elements. But it was the whole situation. It's tragic, like the way these people are living, the reasons that they're there, and this sort of thing. So it was, mentally it was quite tough at times, like hearing some stories of these people, the way they've even got to Greece. It's not the final destination, it's partway through their journey. We were just making sure that people were not dying. Like through the winter when I was in Greece, it got down to -14 at one point, and there's people living in tents with blankets, which they've got. So our job there was just being there for people.
Under zero. The weather's under zero, what the snow is very, very strong. Look, we don't have anything for like fire, anything inside the tent.
I've never cooked for 300 people a day before, so we literally got the equipment together that we needed and said to the people, anyone got any experience? So the first few weeks was really just getting in the rhythm of providing a solid meal every day for refugees living on the streets, and then to help provide clothes and all sorts. It became a lot more than just providing food. So to me, the Scout scarf was something that if someone saw it on the ground, they could see that you're a person there to help. Yeah, I feel like Scouts really did equip me for taking on a project like that.
It might come as a surprise that there are now more Muslim Scouts worldwide than any other faith. Here in the UK, we've seen a dramatic increase in the number of young Muslims becoming Scouts. They're hungry for the pride, the set of positive Scouting values that the world so desperately needs today.
7 years ago, Sazida Patel knew nothing about the Scouts. Now she runs a thriving group in Blackburn with a waiting list of over 300 young people.
This is our local scout camp, so it's Bowley International Campsite, and we come here for camps quite often because we're covered by trees, we have open space, we're in a safe environment. Do you do it in a microwave though? Yeah. In a microwave, right.
If you've got too sticky, what can you do?
I think my journey in scouting, we are the first Muslim Scouts group in Blackburn. We started off with 6 children and we now have nearly 200 children in 6 years. We have a waiting list of nearly 300-400 children. We don't actually realise how big or how large the scouting movement is until you're actually in it. When I moved to Blackburn, I found that the schools were quite segregated. I wouldn't have found that out unless, you know, I'd been to a different school myself, and having lived in London, having lived in the Midlands, I found that I had a more mixed class than what my kids were having. Scouting has, for me, definitely sort of resolved some of those issues, because when I'm at work, I mix with a whole group of different people. When I'm travelling, I mix with a whole group of different people. I don't think I would have met half the people I now know had I not been in scouting.
To make the fire bigger, to boil the water up.
And what are you going to do after for safety?
Put fire.
That's it, well done.
You can see the difference, you know, they become more confident in what they're doing because they get to do things which they wouldn't normally do. So yeah, you can see that confidence growing in them, and the love to do things as well, to do, you know, different things, and they talk about it amongst their friends. Going to stain the cloth, and if we're lucky, we should see a print. Wow. Yeah. So I think the reason why Muslim Scouts are growing in the UK and worldwide is because the values in Islam are very similar to the values in Scouts. So values such as integrity, respect, cooperation, care and helping each other out are always already instilled in the Muslim children from a very early age. And so when they come to Scouts, they fit right in. And by fitting right in and joining the Scouts, they're getting to do things which they just wouldn't normally do. Can you remember what this one was?
Maple.
Yes. Vicky is one of thousands of unsung heroes, volunteering tirelessly to give young people an incredible experience in Scouts.
I'm part of the 2nd East London Scout group. I volunteer my service for the last 10 years. When I first time brought my daughter, and I started as a helper, then I became leader. We are based in Tower Hamlets, multicultural borough, so we are open to everyone. There is no difference between Muslim or Christian kids. It doesn't matter colour of their skin, doesn't matter what school they attend, is it private school or our local government school.
All these children have come together, and it's been a real mix of ethnicity, different background, different cultures, different languages, and they've all come together under the banner of Scouting. Now that has to be a good thing.
I love the quote that says, life is really very simple. What we put in is what we get out. And nowhere is that more true than in Scouting. Our volunteers dedicate so much time, care, kindness, resources to help young people get ahead in life and to experience the adventure and the magic that is found in Scouting.
I'm a great believer that we are only once on this world, and it's very important what you leave behind you. So if you leave some legacy, that you help somebody and you pull some kids through and gave them a chance to have a great time, it's just absolutely amazing.
It's no surprise that today some of the most loved, most respected figures in society support and champion the Scouts. It's an incredible way to bring adventure, friendship and positive life values to people from every walk of life. And here are some of our incredible ambassadors. that champion us.
I'm Tim Peake and I'm a Scout Ambassador.
Hi, my name's Steve Backshaw and I'm a Scouting Ambassador.
I'm Megan Hine, Scout Ambassador.
My name's Anita Rani and I'm a Scout Ambassador.
I'm really proud to be a Scout Ambassador because the Scout is a fantastic worldwide movement for good.
What's attracted me to become a Scout Ambassador is the fact that the Scouts, I think, are more meaningful today than maybe in the years gone by.
The reason I'm so proud to be a Scouting Ambassador is that Scouting has been such a huge part of my own life.
Being part of this huge family nationwide is just the most incredible feeling.
Today we need the values that the Scouts embody. We need to spread that across the world.
Excitingly, I think we've really reached a tipping point with the Scouting movement where more people are talking about it in a positive way than ever before. I mean, Obama is talking about the Scouting movement. We've really got the swell of popular opinion now, and I think people genuinely are keying into the fact that this is an important thing for all of us.
You know, what I try to teach my daughters is be useful and be kind.
Yes.
And if you do those two things, then wherever your passions take you, you'll turn out okay. And
Being kind is such a big one. It's not complicated, is it?
No, it really isn't.
Sometimes we have a journey in life to come around to realizing actually, you're right, that is it.
Try to be useful to somebody and try to be kind.
It's about friendships first. It's an old-fashioned value, but it will never go out of fashion. And finally, there's that selflessness, to put other people first. And it's really what sets us apart as Scouts. Selflessness, kindness, and humility. In Scouting, I see those values around those I meet every day. And it's humbling, and it is so inspiring to be part of.
The main thing Scouts has brought to my life is that determination. So it started off with the physical side of things and those activities, but later in life, because of what Scouts has given me, I've managed to apply it to various other things.
I think first aid is important because you don't know when someone's going to collapse, fall unconscious, or even hurt themselves really badly. You wouldn't know what to do, and it could get more serious.
Thought about it a lot since, and some of it was I was acting on autopilot in a way. You know, you're trained, as I say, not just as a doctor, but also as a scout and a scout leader to do your best, but also think of other people.
From scouting, I guess I've learned a lot to do with leadership.
Disability is no barrier. Scouts has always encouraged me to not let my disability define my personality. There's not been a moment in my scouting career, if you like, where I've thought, hang on, I can't do that, or will they let me do that? Not once.
If my kids were not doing scouting, what would they be doing? And I could guarantee that they would be on their iPads, iPhones, or watching TV, or on iPlayer, Netflix, whatever. It would have an element of technology. Could I see them being outside doing something different if they were not doing scouting? No.
Scouting is a worldwide movement, so you can genuinely connect with people and children across the world. I think that's really important that wherever you are in the world you have a wider outlook and a broader reach, and the Scouting movement can do that for young people.
You make new friends, it feels like a family environment, you learn new skills, and it's all about just having fun as well while you're doing it.
There's a level of pride that exists with being part of the Scouting movement as well, and it genuinely teaches life skills that are important to all of us.
Without scouting in my life, I think I would have taken to heart the view that society projects on me, rather than realising what I was actually capable of myself.
Being part of a worldwide family, that force for good, those friendships that transcend culture, race, beliefs and gender. It's all rooted in respect for the self and respect for others. As Scouts, we take an oath to be kind and helpful. Simple values, but values that endure. And that is how together we change the world.